Gentlemen, we're ready to begin. Thank you. Very much. Claudio first. You're the other end, Claudio.
Even spelled right.
Perfect. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll hand you over immediately to Claudio Reyna. Okay.
Thank you, Vicky. Welcome, and thanks for attending. I'm Claudio Reyna, Sporting Director of New York City Football Club. These are certainly exciting times for us at New York City FC. Since our announcement in May of last year, much working is going on behind the scenes to build a New York club for the people of New York. And there are many more announcements to come. We're here to welcome Jason Kreis formally to the New York City FC family. Appointment of our first ever head coach, and it's an exciting day. This is a key appointment, and some of Jason's achievements as a player, many of you may know. He was the MVP in 1999 as a player. He was the third highest scorer in MLS history, and he was the first to score 100 league goals in the league. As a coach for 7 years at RSL, he was the youngest ever active MLS coach. He took RSL to the first postseason playoff appearance in 2008, and he led them to their first ever MLS Cup in 2009. Most recently, and by the narrowest of margins, in 2013, he lost on PKs to Kansas City, but did a tremendous job there, and we're so happy to have him here. Before handing it to Jason, I would like to introduce two very significant figures of the City family, Ferran Soriano and Chiki Begiristain, to talk about New York City FC and Jason specifically. Ferran is the leader of City Football Group, our CEO of New York City and Manchester City Football Club. He has 20-plus years experience in business in over 10 countries. He's a former vice chairman and CEO of FC Barcelona from 2003 to 2008, and credited with playing a major role in the on- and off-field transformation of the club, helping to bring about the best results in its history and doubling revenues in 3 years. Ferran negotiated some of the biggest player and commercial deals in the industry, including Messi, Ronaldinho, and the groundbreaking nonprofit shirt deal with UNICEF. Chiki is a former footballer at Real Sociedad, FC Barcelona, Deportivo La Coruña, and the Spanish national team. While a player at Barcelona, he won 8 major titles, namely 4 La Liga titles and the 1992 European Cup with the then called Dream Team. He later became director of football at Barcelona from 2003 to 2010, playing a lead role in the most successful period in the history of the club, in which it won 2 European Cups and 5 league titles in 7 years. The then president described the appointment of Chiki as, quote, the best decision I ever made. He is now director of football at Manchester City, working directly with manager Manuel Pellegrini, head of elite development squad Patrick Vieira, and managing director of City Football Services Brian Marwood, who has joined us here as well today. I'd like to pass it over to Ferran to talk to you first. Ferran?
Sorry. Thank you very much, Claudio. Good morning to all. I'm very happy to be with you again. It's not that I haven't been in New York in the last months. Actually, I spent quite a lot of time in the city, but it's the first time that we see you after the announcement we did in May. As you know, New York City Football Club is very important for us. It is a great opportunity for our group to establish in a fantastic city, and it shows that we care about soccer, that we have enthusiasm about U.S. soccer. We really believe about the development of U.S. soccer until today and in the future. We believe in soccer in the U.S. We believe in New York City, 19 million inhabitants, 2 million people practicing soccer. And we also believe in the MLS, a very well-run league. So for us, this is our key project and the key opportunity. What we're doing, as you know, is we're building a football club, a soccer club in New York. So this is going to be a New York club, and New York soccer fans will be proud of it. But we're also doing it using the tools, the knowledge, the methodology, the world-class resources we have in Europe and all over the world. And what we are presenting today is very important. You know, our intent is very clear. The people that are going to execute this intent are key. And we already had the opportunity and the privilege to have Claudio Reyna with us as football director, and you know him well. We announced also Tim Pernetti, who is here, as our Chief Business Officer. Today we're announcing the third key person in this team, Jason Kreis. And I think this announcement kind of executes very well on what I was saying before. We have 3 people with a lot of experience, a lot of recognition in the US, 3 top-level Americans, and this team is going to be using the resources of our global network, including Chiki, who is here, and Brian Marbut, who is here and leads our football methodology, our football science. They will be using resources that are world-class to develop an authentic New York soccer club. So we're actually very happy. We're sure we're doing the right thing. But all of this is at the end is about soccer. So we will spend the next minutes talking about the soccer that we will develop in New York City, the football, the soccer concepts, the kind of attacking soccer that we want to develop. And just to put it in context, you have here Claudio Reyna, who is the football director in New York. You have Chiki Begiristain, who has a very well-known and successful experience in this job, now at Manchester City. And you also have Brian Marbut, who is the person who is responsible for our football science. So he's responsible for an extended scouting network around the world, for the football methodology, the coaching methodology, and the R&D. And he's going to put all these resources at the service, not only of Manchester City Football Club, but also New York City Football Club. So enough said about that. I think this is about soccer, so I'm going to pass it to Chiki. I'm going to pass it to the people that really understand soccer.
Okay. Thanks, Ferran. Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to come back here to New York. First time I came was in the World Cup '94, long time ago. Then I had the opportunity to come, of course, with FC Barcelona in friendlies, and now I have a good opportunity, maybe the best one, as a football director of Manchester City, to be here in this table next to the next manager of New York City Football Club. I'm really happy because of the decision. Also, I have to congratulate Claudio Reyna as a football director of New York City in his first and probably the most important decision he has taken is the manager. And it's something that he has spent enough time to think, to know also about what we are doing in Manchester and what we want to do in New York. And let me then spend just a couple of minutes that we are talking about what we're doing in Manchester. We want to win, but we want to win in a very special style, I would say, football style. We want to always to have a winning team, but trying always to entertain the people and to do a brilliant football. Is that we are doing now in Manchester? Yes, is that we will do sure Jason, with Claudio in New York, here in New York. I talk about the football brilliant, and I think it's, at the end it's easy. It's to have the ball, to have an effective possession, to play in the opponent pitch, to attack, at the end to score, and to have the right balance also defending. Always trying to win back the ball immediately. This is our philosophy. This is the reason that we have now Pellegrini in Manchester. We needed to do it, and we signed, after to establish the philosophy that we want for Manchester, we decided that Pellegrini was the best one to do it. And it's working. We are really happy. We are scoring a lot of goals. We are close to play the final of the Capital One in Wembley. We will fight for the Premier League, of course, and we will fight against Barcelona, our friends. But I mean, we are ready, and we are having successful, but also we are having in the way that we want. And that's the reason that we have Pellegrini there, and is the reason that we have Jason here. This is the most important. We have a philosophy of football, and then we sign the right managers. We have the right one in Manchester, and we have the right one here in New York. Jason will spend some time now in Manchester with us, sharing the changing room with Manuel Pellegrini. He's the manager of the first team. He also will share the changing room with Patrick Vieira. He's the manager of the under-21. And also he will share the changing room of all of our coaches in the academy, led, of course, by Brian Marwood. He's all here, that is leading the football academy, and as Ferran said, all the sources that we can put in the hands of Claudio and Jason, ready to listening, and after that to apply that everything that they can learn. Talking about this job, I think is a very good opportunity for Jason to go there and to be, I don't know, for 4 months in a top level club in the Premier League. And it's something that he will listen and he will learn. But he has enough personality because he has shown that in the MLS to be himself and to be successful also here in the MLS. Just at the end, to finish, is to congratulate again Claudio, because his decision and the best luck. We will be all of us there, close to Jason, close to Claudio, helping and showing that we are doing in Manchester. Thank you.
Thank you, Chiki, Ferran. And now we've heard enough about Jason. We'd like to formally present our first head coach of New York City Football Club, Jason Kreis.
So for a long time now, words have meant a lot to me, and the meaning behind words have become what I think is a very powerful thing if used the right way. When I was still playing, I did quite a few funny things before matches, but one of the funny things I started to do towards the end of my career was visualize words before games. And the word that sticks out in my mind that I started to do over and over and over again was opportunity. And we've heard a couple of the gentlemen here today say that word. And opportunity to me at that time, as a player, meant the opportunity to compete with and against some of the best players in the country at that time, and a few of the best players in the world. It meant an opportunity to entertain fans and gain friends along the way, and some support in the community as well. It meant an opportunity to do what I loved and actually get paid for it. Unbelievable thing to do. Well, when I went over to Manchester last September to speak with Claudio, Brian, Chiki, Tim, and finally Ferran, it became immediately clear to me. This was a group of incredibly impressive men. With the experience and history of Chiki and Ferran and what they built and accomplished at Barcelona, to the story of what they, along with Brian and the rest of the club at Manchester City, have done and continue to do there, with their facilities, with their community, with their fan base, with their players and staff, And finally, with their appointments of such an impressive man as Tim Pernetti, and before that, Claudio Reyna, the choice to come here at some point became not just a no-brainer, but an opportunity I could not let slip away. I want to take a moment now to thank a few very special people in my life for all they have done for and given to me. To my wife, Kimberly, and my kids, Jake and Kason. Without their support, this leap of faith that we're taking could never be possible. To my parents, George and Hulda, who are here. My brother, Andy. My sisters, Jody and Ashley. They've all done a fantastic job of teaching me what it means to be a good person and continue to do that. To the man who believed in me so much several years ago and gave me my very first gig in this coaching world that I'm now in, Mr. Dave Checketts in the back of the room there. To my longtime friend and representative who is also here, who was obviously very instrumental in putting this whole deal together, Mr. Richard Motzkin. To all the fans of, community around, and all the great people that are involved with and work for Real Salt Lake, they will always hold a special place in my heart. And finally, to all of my former assistant coaches there and all of the team support staff who never get or got or probably will ever get the credit that they all so very much deserve. So it seems fitting that under that last group of people there that I've just mentioned with the assistant coaches and support staff, I would like to officially announce the welcoming and the joining to us of David Lee, who will be New York City FC's head of player recruitment. He joins us from the New York Red Bulls, where he spent the past few years. But interestingly enough, before he went to the Red Bulls, he had approached Manchester City, was very much liked by Manchester City, and was therefore recommended to the Red Bulls. We're very happy to have him join us. And also joining us officially today is my longtime personal friend, my teammate in Dallas for a year and a half, an original player of the New York Metro Stars, my former assistant coach at Real Salt Lake, and now my very first appointment as a New York City FC assistant coach, Mr. Miles Joseph. So let me wrap up. What I believe we as a club here now and in front of us in New York City, and what I as a man have in front of me, both in the next 6 months and for the next 4 years in this great city, in its very simplest form, comes down again to one word: opportunity. An opportunity to earn a fan base and start a family of a club. An opportunity to make an incredibly positive impact on a special community here. An opportunity to prove ourselves all over again in the soccer world. An opportunity to do what we love for a living and provide for our families doing it. And an opportunity to lead and be part of something truly great. I'm certain that I speak for all of the gentlemen here at the dais, as well as Tim and Brian and all of the people that are already working in the office just a couple of blocks down the road, when I say this: the opportunity is in front of us, and we fully intend to reach out and take it. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, we move into the section now of questions and answers, which we'll keep going until such a time that it is right to move into the one-on-ones as described before. So can I ask you, each person asking, to raise your hand, identify your name and the organisation you work for. We have a microphone as well, which is a roving one. Can I have the first question, please? This gentleman here, microphone.
Michael Lewis from Newsday. Jason, welcome to New York. Just wanted to know why the team hasn't won any games yet. Like I said, welcome to New York.
Well done.
Seriously, that's a prelude to my question. The pressures of putting together an expansion team and being successful in New York, where there is an inordinate amount of pressures. Could you talk about the challenge involved in that?
Yeah, for me, it's a challenge I look forward to. I believe that in this job, as in any other job, I think that there comes a time when a new challenge is necessary. I had gotten very comfortable with the surroundings at Real Salt Lake and had, I think, done a lot of things there to build an incredibly successful franchise and an incredible community. And then when an opportunity like this becomes available, I think for me it's just something that you have to take. And of course the expectations are there and the challenges will be there and the pressures are all going to be there. We know that we're expected to win, and frankly we will win. So it's not something that I've shied away from. It's not something that I'm nervous about. It is what it is. And to be frank with you, anybody that knows me, I'm sure my parents could attest to this, knows that I put more pressure on myself than anybody could hope to.
Thank you. Question over there, gentleman with the striped top.
Hi, Leander Charlakens, Fox Sports. Question for Ferran, please. When you appointed Pellegrini in Manchester, you said that you expected the first team to win 5 trophies in 5 years. Do you have a similar quota for New York?
Not yet. we just starting. But as Chiqui said, what is very important is we want, in all our teams, we want to play a certain kind of football. And the order of things is first the philosophy, first how we want to play, then we choose a manager that likes the philosophy and it's able to execute it, then we play good football, and then we win. So, and we cannot jump ahead of that. So we don't want to win without playing good football. We don't want to win without playing the kind of football that we want to play and that Chiqui described. So I think we have here the components of the philosophy, the person, the head coach that is going to execute it, not because we told them, because he wants to and because it's the way he wants to play football, and the global resources of the city network at his disposal.
Gentleman over the right, white shirt.
Grant Wall, Sports Illustrated and Fox Sports. Jason, congratulations. Welcome to New York. Couple questions for you. When you were in Salt Lake, the motto was the team is the star. And here, all the expectations are that you're going to have some really big superstar players on this team. How will that be different for you as a coach and working with that team? And as far as players are concerned, like what's the timeline as far as when you might start adding players to this team?
Well, I think the first question for me is easy because I believe that you're always talking about the right person that you're adding. No matter what any person has done in the game, no matter how many trophies he's won or how much money he's going to make, there is still a character element to that person that's important to consider. And so I'm quite certain that New York City FC will sign 3 designated players. I'm also quite certain that those players will be extremely well vetted, researched, talked to make sure that they're not only the right player for this team, but the right person to fit into city football group's philosophies, which again, if by going over there and spending time with Manchester City, the club, even in the 48 hours I was there, it was very clear to me that the most important thing is the club. The most important thing is the badge on the front of the chest and never the name on the back. And if players forget that, they're quickly eschewed and sent elsewhere. I think probably the second part of that question is probably better answered by Claudio, actually, about the timing of the signing of players. Claudio.
Yeah, we're actively, as Jason just mentioned, we're the clock is ticking and we're looking now. We have at the resources that Ferran mentioned, we have 36 scouts within City Football Group, and we've started to speak to them, last year already. Started to make contact with them. We remember we need to find designated players, but we need to find other players as well. So a lot of the focus is always put on the designated players, I think, for us. But we need to find a good squad. We're going to get players from the expansion draft, so we're going to look through the MLS teams. But we're going to look all over the country within the U.S. first, because we need domestic talent, and then we're going to look all over internationally to bring in good players. So we're doing this right now. Next year we'll be here before we know it. So we're making sure we're prepared to, as Jason said, bring in good players, but the right players as well.
Next question. Graham.
Hi, Graham Parker, The Guardian. It's a question for Jason. It follows up a little bit on what Grant just said. I mean, you built that successful RSL side around continuity, in particular in recruiting players for the system. You've got a very unique challenge over this coming year, and MLS is expanding very quickly at the moment. I mean, do you worry at all about just at the other end from the designated player pool, just about the talent pool in MLS or the ability to build a functioning side?
Can you explain that question a little bit more?
In a better, fairer world, I probably could. I'm basically saying that MLS is expanding very quickly.
Yeah.
And
so you're asking a question about kind of depth of the squad.
Yeah, I'm asking about
right?
depth and talent and the ability to pull together a side in that short period of time.
I think it's concerning. I really do. I think that one of the greatest strides that we as a league have gotten to now after this many years is that I believe that our teams are deeper than they were when I played, and certainly in the first 5 to 7 years of my career, the squad size, the depth of truly quality players ran to about 11 or 12. Now I think that squad size of quality players is getting deeper and deeper, but with expansion, and certainly with expansion of 2 teams next year, I think it's a concerning thing for us to consider. What we need to remember is that we don't have to just get all of our players from expansion. We have the ability to go out and find new players for this league, new creative attacking type players that fit in again to the city way of playing. So I think we have a singular opportunity and almost a responsibility to go out and find new players to bring in to bolster the league a little bit, not just to rely on the players that have been here for a long time and rely on expansion only.
Andrew Rubio, MLSsoccer.com. Welcome, Jason. One for Claudio here. Claudio, can you take us through the coaching search? Was Jason your first choice? How did that all go down? And then you mentioned he kind of pointed the question to you about the timeline here. How will the relationship between you two work? I know he had a good one with Garth back in Salt Lake, but how will that player to acquisition system work for you?
Yeah, we're going to work. To answer that last question, we're going to work very closely. We started already. We're going to help each other to make sure. All my efforts are going to make sure that Jason and his staff have a competitive team. We're going to do everything it takes to make sure he has the right players. So we're going to work closely. We're heading down tomorrow to the MLS Combines, and we're going to spend some time with Miles and David. And we're going to work together. So that's the most important thing and very clear. So the relationship is good. Have a lot of respect for him, and it's going to work very smoothly for us. So that's not a problem. And what your first question?
The coaching search.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit here, and for me it was important the person first. Jason and I are around the same age. We played against each other in college. He went to Duke. That's the only thing that was a negative on his resume. But aside from that. It was clear to me that he was one of the top candidates, and I think today is all about Jason and not other candidates we approached. What was important for me, and it was pretty well, it was pretty obvious to see this year that the way the team plays, not just this year, but especially how the players play for him. I think that's important, the style of play, the type of soccer he tries to play. He remains faithful to that. When things, when like most teams, he could lose a couple of games, he stays the course, and he has a tremendous amount of respect from his players, and that to me was very clear to see. So he was at the top of the list, and was very clear to me when we met that he was the right person, as we said before, to fit the philosophy we have here. We're just bringing him in. We don't have to change anything. He knows what he's doing. He knows the league as well. I think for me it was very, very important to have someone of knowledge of the league, the teams he'll be coaching against, the players we're going to be playing and competing against, the ones we'll be potentially taking the expansion draft. So it was always important for me to have first an American coach, but an American coach specifically who had a tremendous amount of knowledge of the league, and Jason ticked all the boxes.
Okay. Gentleman with the cap first, and then we'll move to gentleman in the white shirt.
Jason, welcome to New York. Dave Martinez, Empire of Soccer. With this unique opportunity come unique challenges. Moving from Salt Lake to New York City, the media market, the build-up the Major League Soccer has had here over the past 2-3 years now, there's a lot of money, a lot of expectations involved. How do you handle that kind of new pressure?
Well, I think first and foremost, when you talk about moving from Salt Lake City to New York, and by the way, via Manchester, for 6 months, you have to mention your family again. So without the support of my wife and my children to make these ventures, none of this would be possible, because quite frankly, if they had said we're staying in Salt Lake, we would have been staying in Salt Lake. So I appreciate all the commitments and sacrifices that they're making. It's incredibly important. And to me, again, you know, you can talk about the pressures and the outside influences and the stresses of a big market or a small market or a medium-sized market. To me, it's unimportant. What's important is the relationships that we will establish with the players in the locker room, the relationships that we will establish and have already started to establish with these fantastic men that are involved in this club, and that we work hand in hand and extremely hard to build something together. And then the perceptions outside of the locker room and outside of our club, frankly, we can never control, so I can't be bothered by it.
Okay. Gentleman in the white shirt? No? One more question.
On the field as well, is there come next year, it's just a year away, is there pressure to win now, considering, again, all the pressure all the time that's been invested into this club?
Yeah, I don't see this as pressure. Do I think that this club here believes in winning and thinks that it is ultimately very, very important? Yes, I do. But I also believe what I heard when I was there in September is that we want to win the right way. And I think that with people with the soccer history that we have at this table right here, again, they understand that that might not happen overnight. But as long as we see that the philosophies are being instilled and that we're making all the right decisions and moving in the right direction, I believe that they will be smart enough and wise enough soccer people to know what that means.
Gentleman in the white shirt. Thank you.
Nick Chavez here with Soccer Long Island Magazine. This is a question for Mr. Arena. Welcome back to New York. With the powerful backing of Manchester City and the philosophy of playing the city way, how will you go about making New York City FC a New York team rather than a mini Man City?
Well, it's important that from day one, and it's already started, that we create our own identity. I think, as I just mentioned, you know, we have local people involved with the team who know the league, who know the area, and how things work here. But you know, we're not going to shy away from the incredible resources and knowledge we have to use in Manchester. The sports science, the medical department, the scouting, the performance analysis, obviously the coaching know-how that Jason's going to see firsthand. So we feel I've been here since May, and I could say without a doubt that I feel 100% part of the family. I've been to Manchester many times. They've been over here on many occasions, and I think Jason will see as well that there's a big support system here from Manchester. But at the same time, we want to make sure that this team has a New York feel, because we're here in New York City. It's the greatest city in the world. We're extremely proud to be representing New York City. Put a team within one of the 5 boroughs is an amazing thing. I think the fans in New York, which are so many soccer fans, are going to be so excited about what we're going to do, not only in the short term but in the long term. And look, we want to get up and running as quick as possible, absolutely. But there's also going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a bit of a roller coaster. But I think the most important thing is we remain focused here in our job as a group. But we are lucky and privileged to have such an incredible team, Manchester City in the Premier League, supporting us right through this process, on and off the field.
Gentleman striped tie.
Hi, Nick Chavez from Soccer Newsday. You guys have talked a lot about seizing an opportunity, ambition. To go on with that question, what do you guys think about the potential in the future of this being one of the elite clubs in the world, New York City FC? Anybody?
Claudio, Fran?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we're it's New York City, and as I just said, it is the greatest city in the world. You know, the league, MLS, is growing at an incredible pace, and you know, as Ferran mentioned, we believe in the future of soccer in this country. You know, Jason and I could speak to that from how it's developed in every way, on and off the field, on television, the enthusiasm around the game. And, you know, this upward trend should only continue. The excitement that and how it's resonating around the world is clear with the interest from, in my 6 months working, from players and representatives and agents and just various people wanting to know more and wanting to bring talented players to the league. It's very, very exciting. You know, obviously there's incredible leagues around the world that have long, long traditions and history that we're always going to be behind in terms of years and that stuff. But you know, when you really look at the league in the almost 20 years that it's been around and how it's grown, it's tremendous. You know, to have soccer-specific stadiums, to have the interest that there is, the players that are playing here that have come here in the past, you know, why not? I think that's the ambition of the league. It's our ambition as well. And you know, maybe one day, yes, it'll be one of the premier clubs in the world. We definitely don't want to get ahead of ourselves because, you know, we have a lot of work to do. It's just started, but yeah, we're very excited, all of us, the entire group, the City Football Group, about what New York City Football Club can become.
Okay, over here. Last couple of questions before we move to the one-on-ones. Okay, thank you.
Andrew Doss from the New York Times. Question for our guest from Manchester. You clearly feel strongly about the way you want the club to play, the system that you've established in Manchester, but you've also made a big commitment to Jason, who's shown success in MLS in his own way, maybe sometimes. Is there, will he have the freedom if he chooses maybe to do something that is perhaps not the city way, to go his own way, or do you really want to bring him into the style that you're playing there?
I think we have said that before, that we have a philosophy. We want to play in one way that we like and the people likes, and after that we sign the coach or the manager. After that he's free. Of course, as a football director and Claudia as a football director and Ferran as a CEO and with team, we will always evaluate what happened on the pitch, but we are sure that he playing like he wants and he's done with Saleh, we will be happy, but absolutely free to do it.
I think it's worth spending a bit on what you call the city way. It's basically soccer concepts. So, and these are broad concepts, but very strong. And we would never choose a manager, being Pellegrini in Manchester or Jason here, that would not believe on those pillars. Upon those pillars, he can build whatever he wants, because we're sure that with these pillars, we will produce the kind of football that we want, right? So it's not as imposing. As I said before, we said several times, is we've decided we want to play offensive football. We want to keep effective ball possession and play wide and recover the ball fast. These are basic concepts. And we will only sign managers that want to do this kind of football. And then within this framework, they're totally free to do whatever they think it's good for winning and for giving a good show.
Okay. Question at the back, gentleman with a scarf. Thank you.
Buenos días. Esta pregunta para los caballeros que hablan español al frente. John Jairo Bermúdez, Revista 10 y TV Colombia en Connecticut. ¿Qué planes tienen ustedes para atraer los aficionados hispanos y también los aficionados que por X o Y motivo tuvieron que irse hasta New Jersey con los Red Bulls? ¿Cómo van a hacer ustedes para atraer a esos aficionados para New York, para el equipo realmente de Nueva York?
En realidad, todo esto empieza con el producto, ¿no? Y el producto es el fútbol que vamos a jugar. O sea, nuestro objetivo, como hemos dicho varias veces, es construir un equipo que tenga raíces en la ciudad de Nueva York. Este es un equipo de Nueva York, no es un equipo de Manchester ni de ningún otro lugar. Para construir este equipo vamos a ayudarnos de los recursos que tiene nuestro grupo, que por cierto no solo están en Manchester, estamos hablando, antes Claudio decía, 36 scouts. Estos 36 scouts, muchos de ellos están en Latinoamérica, en Colombia también. Entonces vamos a usar estos recursos para construir un gran club de fútbol que va a jugar muy bien al fútbol. Y esta es la clave para atraer a los aficionados. No hay ningún truco de marketing, no hay ningún atajo, ningún shortcut para esto. Jugar bien al fútbol, y pensamos que los aficionados de Nueva York, tanto los hispanos como los que no lo son, van a sentirse atraídos por nuestro fútbol, ¿no? Todo al final, como digo, se reduce a jugar muy buen fútbol.
Ferran, can you translate the question and the answer in a synopsis, please, in English? A synopsis of what you just said in English would be helpful.
What I said, the question is, what are we going to do to attract Hispanic and other fans? And my answer goes back to football, to soccer, to the product. What we're doing here is we're building a very good, a top-class soccer club that's going to be rooted in New York. This is a New York club that will use city resources around the world, including Latin America. Claudio mentioned we have 36 scouts. That's a lot of people. A lot of them are in Latin America. These people have been working already for New York City Football Club for months and months, looking for players. So what we will do is we will develop a very good product, a very good football, soccer, and that would attract the fans. There's no secret, there's no trick, there's no marketing trick here. It's just playing good soccer. And we believe we can do that in New York, and that will attract the fans.
Thank you. Wrapping up to the last questions now, the gentleman in the black jacket. Thank you.
Hi, Dan Carell, Soccer by Ivis. This is for Farron. New York is a huge soccer city, and there's two other professional soccer teams in this area, whether they're in New York City or not. It's not really the point of my question, but I guess my question is, it's a very big soccer city, but Major League Soccer teams have had a lot of trouble gaining an audience here. How does New York City FC plan on winning this market over and getting people that maybe didn't even know about MLS or didn't care about MLS into the league and the team?
Yeah, we believe in New York. Claudio says, and I agree, this is the greatest city in the world with a lot of people and a lot of soccer fans. And I can say that personally. I was saying that a year ago. I can say that from my own experience. I've been here for months. I've been talking to a lot of soccer fans, and I've been surprised of how many people know a lot about the game. They follow soccer all over the world, in Europe and all over. They understand soccer. They understand what is good soccer and not so good soccer. So what we believe we're giving here, we're not coming here and importing soccer. We believe we're giving the city of New York an opportunity to flourish. So the soccer people in New York to flourish, to unleash the power of New York soccer. Not because we're coming with outside ideas, but we will give them a platform for the already very good soccer players and very savvy soccer fans to enjoy soccer. So it all goes down to this, to giving them a platform, a club, very good soccer, so that they can enjoy. The fact that there is another MLS club close, it's actually very good. You know, there are plenty of cities in the world with rivalries that are enriching the experience. You know, as an example, there is another club in Manchester. Can't remember the name now, but there is another club in Manchester. And Manchester is a much smaller city, so I am convinced that in a city like New York, there is space for more than one soccer club, and ours is going to be one of the best.
Okay. Last question, and then we'll move to one-on-ones, photograph and then one-on-ones.
Hey, Manny Seviano with Bank of America. Manchester City has a great youth program. I was wondering if New York FC plans on having that kind of development. There's a lot of representation here in New York and all the different neighborhoods with a lot of youth coming up, and there's just a lot of soccer, so it would be something interesting just to hear about.
Yeah, we will have an academy where we're sort of in the beginning stages of thinking through and our strategy, but absolutely, we're going to have an academy. But it's also important that we find good partners that have been doing it, as Ferran said. Part of the people who have been doing it for a long time have been in the youth game. So there's a lot of good coaches. There's so much talent in New York City that I believe in, that I think maybe not in the first 2, 3, 4 years, but definitely down the road we will have players. It's a goal of ours to have players coming through our academy in the future to the first team. I think it's critical. Barcelona and Chiqui and Ferran at the time, obviously, they're big believers of the youth academy and the development there. At Manchester City, with Brian Marwood here, overseeing that is very, very important, the academy, and likewise here in New York. So there's so much talent here. The demographics that we have here from around the world, the most international city in the world, and living in the area, I know there's so much talent here that's very exciting. It's important that, and I've started doing that, Jason's going to come into that as well, as far as just having a very good relationship with the youth clubs all over the boroughs and outside the boroughs as well, because it's very critical for us that we work with the coaches, with the players, that we can also share to them the resources that would be available to us, to any of the coaches around. Because, in my time before with U.S. Soccer, coaches are very desperate and really eager to learn more. There's an incredible passion in the youth game here, and I'm really looking forward to that. I love the youth game, and we will definitely tie in and connect our academy and make sure it links to our first team and as well to Manchester City in the future. Yeah.
Okay. That wraps up the top table conference. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I'd ask you just all to remain in your seats, and when we get the speakers just to the back for a photograph. So any photographers who would like to, we can do one at the front and then at the back on that backdrop. So photographers, if you'd like to take those now, and then we'll do one-on-ones thereafter. As well. Do you want to stand together?